Oh, welcome to another episode of Fabric Time. We're getting a little late start here today for a variety of reasons. Because, well, for starters, I don't have any of my backup today. My music man deserted me to go hang out with his sibling up in college for the weekend because he has no school on Monday. So there's that. And then the other one that was going to help me produce tonight because we thought we were going to do the sale thing didn't come home. And that's what the other one's hanging out. So that leaves me here all alone. But don't despair. We're going to have some fun tonight. And it's a late start. Because the other thing that happened too is I was getting ready to set up and the lights are on and people come in and want to buy things and we're a shop. So, I have to open up and sell them things. All that being said, I'm just trying to figure something out here. 12, 20, today's the 20th, right? Oh, good. We can watch ourselves on television. So I can keep an eye on what's going on. So all that being said, what we're going to do tonight is instead of boring you with all sorts of stuff, we're actually going to do a sew-along. Because you all talk about, hey, we should do a sew-along. Hey. So I'm trying this out to see if the whole idea of sew-along works. I've got another idea that we might try to implement later. But I have to, there's a sample that I've been wanting to make for a while, and I had to do the show. So I thought, why not do the two things together? So you can all get insight into the creative process of how I come up with stuff. Because I've got, there is, you know what, let me do this. Let's swap. Oh, wow, that's awful. I think that's going to work. So what I got to do is this panel's been in the shop for a while. And that being said, I've got to do some sort of project with it to get you all inspired to make something with it. So tonight I was going to make a quilt. And what inevitably happens when I put some of this stuff together, you all ask me, where's the pattern for that? This is not going to have a pattern. And you're going to get to watch me make it to see the process of my mind and how it goes together. There's going to be very minimal measuring involved, but when I get done, I'll be able to measure it, give you an idea of what we're going to need to make this quilt. And the centerpiece of the quilt, like I said, is going to be this panel, which is really kind of cool. And then all I'm going to do as well is we're also going to be using some of the coordinates. This is what I have left for the coordinates. I sold a lot of the good stuff already. So there's this. I don't have the two camera setup. I can't zoom tonight because I have to have two different angles so you can all watch the sewing in action. So as we get going, you'll see get better close-ups of a lot of this. So there's that. It was a coordinate. We've got it's a steampunk inspired collection, which is I like that sort of thing. So that's why I got it. Some of the other prints, there was a balloon print and there was a map print and there was a brown. All that stuff sold out already. So I'm left with 3 coordinates and a panel and like a block panel. So this is the other piece that we'll be using. Here is I got another portion that we're using. This is going to be part of the panel as well. And then we have this, which is like typewriter keys. And why is this making things? Hold on. Okay, sorry about that. My laptop just kind of froze there for a minute. So, but here's another one. So this is typewriter keys. I don't know if you can see that from where the camera's at. You'll be able to see it a little closer as we get going. And then I also grab, what's nice about the shop is I got a lot of coordinates on the shelf. So I've got this brown also that we're going to throw in there to make this quilt. Now, all this stuff can be purchased on our website. This is the, Strange Voyage, Unknown Voyage collection. If you go onto fourpinesquilting.com, under fabric, you'll see the Unknown Voyage collection. That's where those fabrics came from. This here you'll find in the basics section under the Wilmington Crackle. So this is all available, $9.95 a yard. So if you want to make this, I'll have measurements and stuff as we go along. I'll let you know what we're using. But without further ado, let's get started. And feel free to comment and join me on this because I have nobody to keep me company tonight. And, well, Danny should keep me company. When I sit down to sew, we'll actually keep an eye on the comments and stuff. But I don't have anybody here. So, join me in this journey as we make an unknown voyage into what we're doing. First thing I want to do I've got a kind of an idea what we're making tonight, and you'll see it kind of come together. So the centerpiece is going to be this panel here. First thing we have to do with the panel is kind of trim it up a little bit. Typically what I will do with the panel is, if there was a little bit more of this black, I would probably kind of save that and use it as an inner border. But as it is, it's only about a ½ inch. And if I trim that down, you're going to kind of lose it. And a little ¼ inch of black isn't really going to do much for me. So what I'm going to actually do, the first thing I'm going to do is trim this off and just get rid of that black border around my panel. And if you're looking at a pattern, a lot of times they'll tell you to cut a panel to a certain size. Sometimes panels aren't cut straight or aren't printed straight. And so you start to try and cut them and you get all skewed and wonky. What I would recommend if you ever have a panel that's not quite straight is pull it straight, use your corners and kind of pull it straight as you square it up. Don't square up to the lines and have like this wonky cut thing. When it's wonky and you try to cut the line, so now you have like a diagonal cut on your panel. What I would do is use the border lines as your reference and use that for your measuring and stuff. And what you'll find is as you start adding borders and whatnot to it, it'll kind of pull it back in where it needs to be, unless it's really off, and then I don't know what to tell you. You can come in here and complain to me about it. I've had that happen, and I'll give you a new one, and hopefully it's printed straight. But for the most part, if you get quality stuff, it should be printed pretty good. The only one I ever had a problem with was there was a Henry Glass floral that was just all sorts of wrong. But when you're trimming up a panel, the best thing to do for your measure is find use the printed marks to square it up, because it was supposed to be square when they printed it. So just kind of trim along the border. So like I said, all I'm doing is just trimming off that little bit of the outer black border to kind of get our panel where we want to be. And so I don't know why I'm doing this first, because I'm not sewing directly to this. Like I said, I have an idea what we're doing, what I'm planning on doing. It's like watching one of those baking shows where they tell you what they're making and then you get to watch them make it. Except we're not baking, we're sewing, because nobody wants to watch me bake, because you wouldn't have anything that's edible after. Though you could. I guess the only show that I would be able to go on is Nailed It. If you haven't watched that on Netflix, it's well worth the time. Basically, they find people that can't bake and put them in a room together and give them impossible tasks and see how bad they screw it up. It's quite comical, and it gives people like me hope of better days. So here's the panel all trimmed up, and you'll notice all I did was take the black off. But I'm not ready to work with this yet. I'm just doing that because I'm standing here, so I'm going to put this off to the side. Also, let me know if the audio is coming through all right, because I'm trying a little bit of a different setup, so I don't know if the sound is going to be as good as it could be. And I think all I've got watching right now is Danny. Wait, who else I got? Oh, wow, we got a whole 6 people watching us. And look at that wonderful shot of me, because I'm like getting close to the camera to look at my computer, and all you get to see is this belly. My belly, rub-a-dub-dub the belly. And sound is good here. Thank you, Madgar, which sounds like a Viking name. Madgar the Magnificent. You know, I'm just giving you a hard time, right, Danny? Okay, so next thing we've got in here is, there is this here, another panel, which has some fun, like, squares and stuff on it. Now, I'm hoping, like, Sarah was watching me when I was rubbing my belly, because I'm sure she'll chime in and tell me how awful that was. What we're going to do here, this is oftentimes, this looks like it's going to repeat. Typically, panels repeat at 2/3 of a yard or a yard. There are some digital printed panels that repeat at 1 1/4 yards. But and I have seen some at 3/4 of a yard, but those are kind of special. Typically speaking, panels are 2/3 of a yard or a yard. So this is a panel, and I'm willing to bet that these squares repeat probably at 2/3 of a yard. So let's take a look. You have a bumblebee here and another one here. So that would be our repeat, 2 blocks wide, and I'm willing to bet that's 2/3 of a yard. And holy cow, it was 2/3 of a yard. So all I'm going to do first is, like I said, if you were like actually purchasing this from the store, it would probably be a panel already. But I just kind of grabbed this stuff off the shelf because like I said, I got to make a sample. And I thought, you know what? I'm just going to show you guys how I'm doing it. So when you come in and want to make this awesome quilt, I'll be like, watch the video. You're like, how do you make that? And I'll be like, watch the video. And then you'll have to suffer through this again to make this awesome quilt that we're going to make. Now, keep in mind, what we're going to make today uses a panel and these squares. And when you watch how I do this, you can use different collections for this. This was actually inspired by, I want to say it was Julie that came in and wanted to make a quilt with that really cool watercolor farm stuff. And I had an idea, I kind of gave it to her, and she expanded upon it, and then I'm like, I got an idea. So this was actually inspired by a totally different panel and block set. But what we're going to do from a measurement standpoint and everything, if you won't need to measure. So these blocks, if you have a different fabric you're using, they don't necessarily need to be the same size as this. When you see how we're going to put this together, you'll be like, oh, I can do it with whatever and whatever. Or if you don't have pre-printed blocks, you would be able to as well. If you didn't have pre-printed blocks, you could also do like a 9-patch or something, or make your like a monkey wrench or a log cabin or whatever it is you guys all want to make. And who else is watching? Oh, we got comments. Becky's watching. That's the mumsy. Apparently, she had fun at the hot tub. Her and the Burnster, they went hot tubbing. They can do that, I guess. They went to the hot springs. I guess out there it's the hot springs because they're going to the hot spring, not the hot tub. Because, living out west, living the life. All I'm going to do now is, let me just show you this again. Again, if there was more of a border and I want to save some of this outline for a border, I could. I'm going to get close because I can. You could save some of that border for an outline, but I'm going to actually cut right up to the block here because I'll just take my 1/4 inch out of the block. It doesn't, it's not going to hurt my feelings. So all I'm going to do now is just trim up, and I have a total of 10. I'm actually probably only going to use 8. For the idea I have in mind, I'm just going to use 8 of these blocks. And all I'm going to do is, let me just trim up 4 of these. And feel free to comment with any questions or topics that you would like me to discuss, because this is kind of like a quilt along where you get to watch me work, and I'm sure it's going to get pretty tedious unless you want to keep me talking about foolishness and stuff like that. And I want you all to know that Star Wars is on the agenda for this weekend. I thought about going tonight, but I was like, I can't let my fans down. I have to give them their show. So just shout out, and I'm curious if anybody's seen Star Wars that's watching right now. In the comments, let me know if it was worth it. I have my doubts. It's one of those I have to go see it because it's Star Wars, but I'm kind of like, I don't know. I'm really kind of, torn about it. All right, so now all I'm doing is I'm just going to cut these guys out. And doop-a-doop-a-doo, doop-a-doop-a-doo-doo. See, look at that. See how cool that looks? Look at that. Can you see that? That's going to be in our quilt. Isn't that kind of a cool little bumblebee clock thingy? I'm very excited about this. It's kind of, let me see, what's the other one I want? Definitely want the bumblebee. Oh, we have to put the frog with the top hat in there, so we're going to trim that one up too. Like I said, I have 8. I have 10 here. I think I'm only going to need 8 for what I'm doing. But I probably could use all 10, but we'll see. We'll see how I feel. We'll see how big we want to make this mess. And you'll notice all I'm using for tools, a straight edge and a rotary cutter. Nothing fancy here. And you could get some fancier stuff if you want, but as you watch me make this, you'll be like, why do I need anything else? You don't. And if you've never quilted before, so I'm assuming, probably everybody that's watching this already knows me and has quilted before. Are there going to be kits available? No, Mom, there's not going to be kits available because I don't want to write a pattern. That's why I'm doing this, is so I don't have to write a pattern. So you can buy, once I know how much fabric you need, I'll tell you, then you can order it. I suppose I could say there's a kit here, watch the video. What was it? Oh, maybe moved my train of thought. I'm sorry. So if you're watching this and you have never quilted before and you're thinking, I'm going to learn to quilt by watching Brent make this quilt, I'm going to caution you right now. It's probably not a good idea. I am lazy. I take shortcuts, and some stuff I do is just wrong. And I'm sure that if you're a hardcore quilter and you watch this as we go along, there'll be like comments like, what is he doing? That's not how you quilt. So that's my caveat. What I'm going to show you is my creative process, and you could probably use it, but by no means consider this a tutorial on how to quilt, because it'll get you into trouble. That's my disclaimer. Don't try this at home. Just understand the extent of what we're doing here. So now that I've thrown that out there, oh, you know what? I should have measured something, but I'll measure it after. I want to make sure that these are all the same height, and you'll see why here in just a second. Same height, yeah, same height, same width. We'll after we get these trimmed up, we'll double check that they're all fairly close with. See, this is the other one I'm going to put in there. Look at that. Isn't that fun? Of course, the focus on this camera is pretty bad. We'll switch over to the other camera here when we get sewing, and you can all watch all the fun. Anyway, so, and I'm warning you, this is going to be a long one. This is going to be like one of those hour ones tonight, probably, because, you know, we're making a quilt. This isn't a 20, it might be a 20-minute quilt. I doubt it, though. I mean, we're already, what, 10 minutes into it, and I haven't even finished cutting my pieces. Oh, look, this is a heart with gears in it. Speaking of heart, whoever, one of my favorite, well, not my favorite memory from childhood, as we say heart, is Professor Coulthard from the Care Bear movie. Give a big shout out to that. Anybody that remembers the Care Bear movies and the Care Bear. Oh, see, I gotta fix my camera. I thought it's on autofocus, but it's not. See, there's another one we're gonna put in there. All right, so we're up to 4. Halfway there. Halfway there. Oh, look at that. Bicycle seats and hearts. Let's see. Well, and that one has a coffee cup and a map on it, so we'll do that one too. So yeah, I remember growing up, there was the Care Bear movie with Professor Coulthard. I always thought that was a weird name for a professor. Why would you? I mean, if you're a parent, I mean, if your last name is Coulthard, I mean, what do you expect? Your kid is bound to grow up to be a villain. I mean, what other option does he have in life with a name like Coulthard? And if he's smart, Professor Coulthard, I mean, that guy's history was written before he was born, poor guy. Coulthard. It's like Braveheart, you know. Get a name like Braveheart, you know. Yeah, you're going to lead the Scots to independence because you got a cool name like Braveheart. Who's going to stop you? So, why I'm going on that tangent, I don't know. That's 5. And like I said, you can kind of pick and choose what you want. Now, I like this collection. I'm not sure why it has all the corsets in it. That's kind of, I don't want to say weird, but it's like, I don't think of, well, I guess it's steampunk, and so there's a aspect of corsets in steampunkery, I guess. I don't know. Not being a guy, I'm not familiar with that. Not that there's anything wrong with that. The guys that are familiar with corsets and boning. That sounded really bad, because when I was talking about boning, I was talking about the boning and the corsets. So for all you kids watching and all you parents watching with your children, I'm sorry. Don't misinterpret that comment. Because that could be taken out of context, and then I'll be in trouble, especially with my mom watching. So that was strictly I was speaking in terms of sewing. And again, if you're watching with your children, you can explain to them what boning is as it relates to corsets. So you're welcome. And I'm sorry, Mom, that, you know, you raised this son. So because I'm not feeling, well, that's not bad. All right, everybody watching, you get to choose now. I've got 4 left. And I've got 5 left. Oh, wow, I lost count. Well, we're definitely doing the hot air balloon. That one's going in there. But I'm trying to decide on the last 2. Like I said, I wasn't super excited about the corset bit, because I'm like, it's kind of like, well, whatever. Being a guy, that doesn't appeal to me. You know, it's not my thing, I should say. But, so we've got Waterworks from Monopoly. We could go with that one. We could go with the top hat and the, I guess it's a bustier. It's not a corset, it's a bustier. See, this was kind of cool. It's like a bike. We'll do the bike with the clock wheel. I don't know how I feel about the flowers, but, you know, we're going to just throw it in there. And moving forward, this is kind of weird. It's like I'm sewing and talking to myself. I mean, I guess I do that anyway, but you all get to watch me do it. And then wonder, see, and then I do this YouTube thing, and then like I watch other YouTube channels because I fall down that rabbit hole, and they're so much better produced with like a budget and stuff. And I think to myself, man, I got to get like a production team and do this for real. And then I'm like, that would just turn into work. So you're stuck with this for now. If there's a movie production team out there that wants a guy that like sews, feel free to give me a call. I'll be happy to hook you up. But until then, you're just gonna have to put up with my low budget ramblings and hopefully see past all the imperfections to see the art that I'm attempting to make. I like that one. That one was kind of cool. We're gonna go with that one. All right, so we need 8, and I've just rambled on for I don't know how long, trimming up 8 squares. We're gonna get to the sewing here in just a little bit. And now we're gonna have to take our first measurement. I didn't want to do a lot of measuring because for all you out there that are quilting, you know. Oh, what do we got? Oh, so Danny, you're gonna take make notes for me? Like you're gonna take notes to let me know how bad I am. You're gonna take notes to make a pattern. So you're gonna take notes. It's kind of, you know, for what? And then I can see myself on the screen, so then I can. Oh, look at me! I'm showing! Yay! T-shirt reference. This is Metroid, Metroid Prime from the classic NES game Metroid. That's where this T-shirt came from T-shirt Republic. Now, I like the graphic. The shirt itself, I don't know how I feel about it. Arm of the Animals makes much better T-shirts, and I've got to get a few more of those. If you're watching, Sarah, Arm of the Animal T-shirts, fantastic. Would be a fantastic birthday present. 3XL fit me just fine, and I love their shirts. Yes, armoftheanimals.com. I don't know if that's like an ad read or something. If they watch this and say, thank you, that's cool. Otherwise, they're going to be like, why are they mentioning it? They're going to disassociate with me. So, as I'm rambling. Okay, so what we want to do now is make sure that all of these are pretty much close to the same size. Now, for what I'm going to be making, I'm not too concerned about the width. I'm more worried, well, actually, I'm not even worried about the height or the width. You know what? I don't know. You really need to measure it. I'm just going to throw a ruler on there to make sure they're all in the ballpark. And I'm having trouble reading my ruler today. Wow, it's going to be a long day. So 6 inches. So these are all rough. That's 6 by 8, give or take. And they're all roughly 6 by 8, 6 1/4 by 8 1/4, give or take. I'm not going to worry about it too much. They're all close enough because that's the kind of quilt we're making. Close enough. So what we're going to do next is I need to make a row. We're going to make our first quilt row. So what we're going to do is we're going to make a row of 4 of these across. So I'm just going to randomly choose 4. And how much space should we put in between them? Spacing. Since they're 6 wide, pretty much standard 2.5 inch unfinished, finishes down to 2. That's pretty standard size. That wouldn't look bad. So let's just do the math quickly in our head. So we've got 6, going to finish down at 5.5, give or take. 5.5 times 4 is 22. Add 2 inches times 3, that's 6. 22 plus 6 is 28. And guess what? That's probably not going to work for what I want to do. So guess what I got to do? Wait, maybe it will work. Hold on, let me think for a second. 28, and we add another 2 inches on each side. That's another 4 inches. That brings us up to 29. Do we want to go up to 29? We might want to go up to 29. If we bring it up to 29, and that's at 24, that's 5 inches. No, we're going to have to go up 5. Okay. So what I have in mind, I thought we were only going to need 8 of these. Turns out we're going to need 10. So if you're watching this thinking there's a pattern here, when I said 8, you had to fast forward to this point in the video and realize we need 10. If I do put notes together about this, it'll be noted in the bottom. You need 10, cut all 10 squares. So yeah, you'll take that panel that we had and we're going to use all 10. And then we'll go from there. Give me 1 second to just get this where I want it to be. And this is a variation. If you go to our website, fourpinesquilting.com, and look under downloads, this is going to actually be a variation on the Quick Panel Throw quilt that is available for download for free on our website at fourpinesquilting.com. And this is just a variation of it. And you're going to see, if you've made that quilt before, which takes all about 20 minutes, that was the quilt that I think Jolie made out of some Northcott. And Northcott was like reposted it on Instagram, and I was like famous for like 2 minutes. This is a variation on that. Holy cow, what's all the comments from? All right, I got to read comments here for a second. So I'm going to take a break. Taking a break, and we're reading comments. Oh, she's going to make notes for better production. Okay, thank you, Danny. This is a comedy routine. Well, that's probably true. Mental math skills, yes, I did get that from you, Mother. You are a math teacher, and so my mind works in such wonderful ways. And a paper, and yes, you would. Well, no, Danny, you wouldn't, because at the end of the day, if you just watch this and do what I do, you won't need to take any math computations, because you're going to see what's going to happen here in a minute is I'm just making stuff up. So we have 10 of these. So we're going to have 2 rows of 5 of these humdingers. And so if you have rows of 5, I'm going to put a spacer in between them. And what we're going to use for a spacer is going to be this, because I think this looks kind of fun. We're going to use brown. No, we're going to use this because the brown is going to be for the other part. It's all in my mind. It'll all make sense when I'm done. Okay. So, and this is the scaling on this is kind of nice too. The scaling on this is if I do a 2.5-inch strip, finish up to 2, the print on this will look really nice with that. If you're one of those crazy people, and I mean that in the nicest way, not like crazy haha mental illness, you should, no, I don't mean like just crazy, like it has to be all the same direction. This will probably drive you nuts because all the letters on here go one way. I do not care about that. If you care about that, you're probably going to either want a different print or you're going to want to pay a lot of attention when you're cutting this. Me, not so much. I'm just gonna go for it because that's the way I roll. We're hardcore like that. Hardcore quilting right now. That kind of goes back to what we were saying earlier about if you're watching this to learn to quilt, this may not be the best instruction that you're going to get. So I'm just going to cut myself a 2.5-inch strip. Like so. Boom. And I think I may only, well, let's see, we'll do 2 just to be safe. Because that's the way we go. We're just going to cut 2.5-inch strips. And that'll get us started. Now, I am just going to check this again to make my life a little bit easier. So it's a little over 8 when I put it on there, like 8 1/4. So I'm just going to go with 8 1/2 because 8 1/2 is bigger than 8 1/4. And with this, you can always cut down. You can't stretch. So we're going to go with 8 1/2. And for 1 row, because we have 5, we're going to do 5 panels for 1 row, we will need 4 spacers. So if we're going to cut them at 8 1/2, oh, pro tip. Here's my pro tip. Pro tip. If you're like, hey, here's a pro tip for you. Cut your salvages off every time, because what I run, it's inevitable. You'll get this quilt. It looks gorgeous. I put it on the long arm, and I'm long arming up, and it's just this gorgeous, gorgeous quilt. And they did cut the salvages off, so you've got like that one corner where the salvage comes through, and it's just like, dang, that sucks if that's your quilt. So one of the things I always do, first thing I almost always do after I cut a strip is I just cut salvage. The other thing I will often do too, if I'm cutting yardage, like I'm cutting I've got a kit that I'm going to make, and so I've got like 3/4 yard of this and a yard of that and this and that. First thing I will do if you pre-wash, before you wash it, is before you even start cutting, I'll just zip the salvages off everything, so I don't have to worry about it again as I'm quilting. Just hit the salvages right off. And when you get ready to go, first thing I do is always hit the salvages, because there's nothing worse than making a gorgeous quilt and finding the salvage in there. That's just pro tip number 1. So the other nice thing, as I keep mumbling on, is we decided we're going to go with 8 1/2. Guess how wide this ruler is? This is, by the way, is the Quilt to Select 24 by 8 1/2. Yeah, 24 by 8 1/2, maybe 24 1/2. Anyway, my favorite ruler, 8.5 wide. So what that means is when I'm cutting my strips, I don't have to measure anything. I just line up one end to the strip and I just cut with the ruler. Kaboom, I'm done. And I layer 2 strips together, so I just have to cut it once because that gives me the 4 spaces that I'm looking for. But because I'm making 2 rows, I'm going to cut that twice. Okay, now you've all borne with me in this craziness to this point. I'm proud of you for making it this far. Now we're actually going to sew. Are you guys excited? Woohoo, sewing. I'll pick this mess up, and I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to hit this button so you can see me sew. Yay! And I'll check my comments real good. All right, so it's kind of cool too because I have our television set up over here, so I can see myself on the big screen to get the same experience you're having. I did turn the sound off because it's really weird to listen to myself. But anyway, I digress. Is that a better picture? Does this camera give you a better image quality than the other camera? I don't know. Because I'm thinking I might, if I had the money, so buy stuff at my website so I can have the money, I want to buy another camera like that because I think it would work better than the camera I have over here. Though I like this camera because that one's fun. I get to play with photographer, but it's a still camera. It's a DSLR. So it's not really intended for what we're doing with it. And for that reason, it sometimes has issues. Wow, we made it to 30 minutes and it hasn't clicked off yet. Cool. Anyway, so what we're doing, wait, I might go try something. If we go here, wait, no, go here. No, that's in, out, and then we refocus there. Is that creepy? What? Anyway, so what we're going to do now is we're going to take this and sew that right next to it like that. Kaboom! And you can see it's a little bit longer if you look at the bottom. That's because this is 8.5. This is like close to 8.25. I don't care because we're going to cut that bottom off when we're done. Anyway, continuing on. Got 6 people. There's 6 people watching this train wreck unfold. Oh, you know what I forgot? I forgot to get a pedal. All right, I'm going to get a pedal because we have lots of pedals around here. Now, here's another pro tip. We're full of pro tips tonight because, you know, we're sewing. This is the dual function. This is the dual function foot control from Brother. Now, it used to ship with the Dream machines. It does not ship with the Luminaire. If you trade your machine in for a Luminaire, keep this and swap out the pedal. But anyway, depends on your dealer. Do that with me. Do it all the time. But anyway, this is a really nice pedal. What it has is you can do the heel. You see how you can put the heel down, and you have the toe. So you have 2 functions in this pedal. I have ginormous feet, and I don't rest my foot on them. I actually just use the toe. One of the things you can do to get better functionality out of this, instead of putting your foot here like that, turn it sideways so your foot can go left or right to get the function you want. Just that way you can get a lot more function. You can just program this to cut, pick up your needle or whatever, and that makes you go. And instead of having your foot up here and doing the heel and toe kick, turn it sideways and just tap it with your toe one direction or the other. So if you have one of these, that's just my tip for you. That's the way I roll with it, but that might not work for everybody because not everybody has giant Sasquatch feet. That could be a problem. Now, if you're making this and you're like, wow, that looks like fun, keep in mind that these blocks that we're now putting together are directional. So we want to make sure as we're sewing, oh, can't be used at this time. Okay, there we go, sewing. Okay, so my pivot turned on, pivot on. You want to, is that too loud? Can you guys hear me talk over the machine? Or is this going to be a good excuse for me to upgrade to a Luminaire so that you can hear me talk as I film stuff? It's a pretty good excuse, right? Now, if you are a hardcore like designer artist type and you really wanted to overthink this, you could lay out your blocks ahead of time and make sure they all look right. Me, I'm not. This is it's kind of a sample, so I'm just going to kind of throw them together. Let me switch over to this little floor. You'll notice here I just put that together, kaboom, like that. Notice I've got this little edge here. I'm not worried about this right now. What I'm going to do is when I sew this piece to it, I'm going to sew it. I'm going to start my seam up here so that that tag is always on the bottom. And I'm going to make sure I do that for all of my pieces so that when I get them all sewn together, I can just zip that off. Makes sense in just a second. But that's like, because I didn't really want to cut an 1.25 inches, 8 1/4 or whatever I thought that was supposed to be. So I'm just leaving that little bit on the bottom, and we'll square that up after we're done. And we're just going to zip this through now. Now, if you're watching and you actually want to learn about quilting, I'm going to teach you something. This is something that applies. This is not me being lazy or whatnot. This is an actual quilting technique that you're going to learn here. So if you zip this through, I love the pivot function. And if you ask me, yes, the pivot function is worth the $700. The extra $700 you need to get it on the BQ 1350 over the BQ 575, or I guess it's the PS 500 now. Anyway, so back to our pro tip. If you're doing a lot of stuff and you know the order of your stuff, I just put that through. Now, newbies or people that may do this will stop, pull this out of the machine, and run the next one through. This is what they call chain stitching. I'm going to leave that in there. I'm not even going to cut the thread. I'm just going to let that sit in there, and I'm going to start my next piece. Just like that. See how exciting that was? Saved me from having to undo the one that's in there. Now, I can keep doing that, but one thing I often will do is I'll put one through and then I'll just go like this because I'm working on 2 rows. And if you're good, like I know my mom does this, you can put like 6 through and somehow make them all come out right in the 2 rows you're making. I lack that ability because I can't keep it straight in my head. So that's 1 row, this is another row, and I'll just swap them when I'm chain stitching rather than try and make them all work at the same time. And so you can see here, see how the bottom on that has that little bit extra? I don't worry about that because look, my top is even, and we can, and that's the magic of rotary cutters. They can take care of that for us. Now I am noticing as I'm looking at this, there's some light ones and some dark ones. So I am going to alternate that a little bit. Just I can, but I probably should have planned this out a little better because I've got 5, which means if I alternate properly, whatever, it'll all make sense when I'm done. And they're all going the right way so far. Sweet. But I put 2 bicycles next to each other. I don't know how I feel about that. I should have broken the bicycles up. Somebody might be looking too closely at this quilt and they'll be like, why are the 2 bicycles together? That is unbalanced. You should spread them out. I don't think anybody thinks that way, but like I think that way when I'm putting stuff together. I'm going to start turning the speed down a little bit so it's not quite as loud as I talk. But never mind that idea. It was but that's sometimes that's some of the stuff I'll think about when I'm like trying to put like panels and stuff together. I'll be like, well, the 2 flowers can't go next to each other because that, again, it's unbalanced. You'll notice. I'm going to show this to you again. Notice, same issue we were having, long top, long bottom. We're just going to start at the top because like cutters are magical and they fix those problems. All right. Oh, wow. I've only got 5 viewers now. We started out at 6, means I'm losing y'all. I guess I'm not that entertaining, but wow, we're 40 minutes into this. I might have to edit this because I don't know if anybody's going to want to sit through this. And we haven't even got the first row done. We're 40 minutes into this. There's not even a row done yet. I think Sarah's sleeping because she was tired. Otherwise, I'd be like, I got to go home. But, you know, that doesn't really matter, I guess. And so rather than just keep pointing out that same thing about the long bottoms, I'm just going to zip that through. And away we go. And go we are. Yay for us! Oh, also as a reminder, tomorrow is our shop Christmas party. And we're going to get started at 3 o'clock. It'll probably go to about 4, maybe a little after. It's not going to be like this long drawn out thing. We hang out, we have fun, we eat food, we open presents, and then we go home. I'm not sure if it's going to be that order, but something like that. So that's tomorrow. That's going to be at 1 o'clock, or not 1 o'clock, 3 o'clock. Why did I say 1 o'clock? What's going on at 1 o'clock? I don't know if there's anything happening at 1 o'clock. Anyway, I digress and I'm rambling. So I guess if I stop talking, these are parts I could edit out later if I'm not talking, but I feel like I have to entertain you because you're all hanging on. Okay. Somebody, let's see, we got, it looks like it's just Mom and Danny watching me. Guys, give me something. Give me something to work with. Give me a topic. Something that's plaguing your mind. Some wisdom. If you need some wisdom from Brent, because, you know, as Clint Eastwood once said, well, I'm not going to repeat what Clint Eastwood said about opinions, but he said something, and it was fantastic. It was inappropriate for a child's show. Not that this show is for children, because I had to check that box when I was watching the YouTube. It was like, is this for children? And I didn't say yes, it was. So does that mean I can swear? I don't know, because my mom's watching. So if I start swearing, that would be bad, because then my father would be like, Brent, or she'd wash my mouth out with soap. Did I tell that story once? I don't know if I told that story yet on here, about the time that we were all hanging out back. So we grew up what we call the chicken coop, because apparently it was a converted chicken coop. True story. I lived in a chicken coop. And Mom, you can attest to the fact that we lived in a chicken coop. So we lived in this chicken coop. I don't know why that's relevant to the story. I don't really think that it is, but we lived in a chicken coop. And you have that window that looks over the sink, so you can do dishes and look out upon your vast estate that's out behind your house. Well, that was about the way the house was built. I'm not sure, but that was like 12 feet off. It probably wasn't 12 feet off the ground, but we were like kids, so it seemed like it was super high. But anyway, so you have the kitchen window, and it's behind the house, and we're all playing one day, and we're like hanging underneath the kitchen window telling stories, because Bradley just got back from like the first grade, so he's telling us all about the great first grade. And he's like, you want to hear a joke I heard today? And I'm like, we're back there. I think it was me. I think little Howard was with us. I think Spencer was with us. I could be wrong. I could swear that Spencer was with us. Ferlin, not Alan. But Alan might have been there too. Anyway, I was there. My brother was there. Those are the important people. And my mom was also there, though we didn't know it at the time. She was in the kitchen window doing dishes, looking out upon her vast estate, which I don't really think you could see much, because outside the kitchen window, there's a little strip of lawn, some trees, and then there was what we call the sand pit. Now, see, here's things that you remember from childhood. There's this awesome sandbox that we used to go play in out back. You could dig holes, and we would spend hours out there digging and burying things. Nobody had explained to us that sand was there, I believe, to cover some plumbing, like a leach field or something. I only know this because we dug too deep one day and we hit PVC. We're like, oh, there's pipes down here. Let's dig out some more. So yeah, the great sandbox, I think, was actually a poop hill. But anyway, so we're behind the chicken coop. Brad's telling us all about his first grade adventures, and he's like, I heard a joke today. I'm like, oh, okay. And he's like, ask me what time it is. And Brad does, he's like, he's like, ask me what time it is. I'm like, why? Just ask me what time it is. And so me being the astute little brother, I'm like, Bradley, what time is it? And he looks at me in the face and he says, now, if children are watching, you need to cover your ears right now, because this was straight out of the mouths of a naughty first grader. Maybe he was second grade, but I think it was first grade, because I don't remember being in school at the time. But anyway, so I say, Bradley, what time is it? And he's like, half past the monkey's ass, quarters to his balls. And I thought that was raucously funny. I thought that was hilarious. Everybody present thought that was funny, except Mom, who was in the window, because immediately we hear, Bradley Ray, get in here. Now, can somebody explain to me something as an adult I don't understand? So your mother has just yelled at you with your middle name, so you know you're in trouble, right? Bradley Ray, get in here. Why would Bradley Ray then proceed to enter the house knowing that his mother is mad at him? I would think that there's some sort of evolutionary process by which that would have been bred out of us as a species, because that would not have an optimal outcome for the individual that listened to his mother that said, Bradley Ray, get in here. So that was that's the day my brother got his mouth washed out with soap. I believe it was Dial. He went inside, which I don't know why. He should have just ran away. I mean, that's what the smart money would have been on. But he went inside, got his mouth washed out with soap, and that's the story. So anyway, I have no idea what that has to do with anything, and I'm supposed to sew while I talk, according to my mother, because she probably didn't want me to tell that story, because now she's a bad parent because she washed her child's mouth out with soap. But maybe it was all right, because he turned out to be a successful young man, or old man now. I don't know if he's that old, because he's like the same age Well, not the same age, but you know, close enough to my age that if he's an old man, I'm an old man too. All right. Maybe we'll just do the row tonight, and we'll have like a special edition of this later on next week because we're pushing an hour, and I don't know if you guys want to put up with me for much longer. So here's what we've got. See how our row is just kind of coming together. You'll notice, yeah, there's a little bit of an extra on the bottom, but that we're going to add one more. There's 4, and I guess I should have kept them going on the chain stitch. But here's another row. Dawn dish soap? Why would you want to use Dawn dish soap? That's like, so the water doesn't wash it out, it makes it worse? That's pretty impressive. Now, the fact that you know that, Danny, makes me wonder why. Either as a parent you employed that tactic, or as a child you yourself were subjected to it. Both of which don't speak very highly of you. Okay, it doesn't matter. I'm just giving you a hard time. I don't want you to be offended, not tune in. All right. So there's that, and then we're going to add one more to this here. Like I said, always make sure that your stuff is right side up and that you're putting on that top corner. They're all being lined up to the same top corner so that when we trim this later, it will all make sense. Okay, so now see, if I had a third camera, I could set it up to watch the cutting board because, you know, if we've got all sorts of like funky angles that we got to cover, but that's a whole other subject. Okay, we're almost done here. We've almost got these rows done. It's actually not going to take long after we get the rows done because we already trimmed the panel. So this is not going to take a whole. You guys all get kind of the idea of it before we're done, and you'll be like, "Oh, that was easy." We might finish it, or it might end up like that Han Solo quilt that I tried to make a. Don't ask me here. Well, that is true, Mom. I did try to drive away after I wrapped the van around the post because, again, that speaks to my superior breeding, as I must be higher on the evolutionary chain than Bradley because I was smart enough to run away or try to run away. And I didn't do it on purpose. I didn't think of cutting it back when I was driving. You know how when you back up and you turn and you have to pay attention to the front end? Well, I didn't do that as a child because I was backing out of the garage. So I turned the car too soon. And by turning it too soon, the front end had not cleared the garage doors, thus creating a problem in the space-time continuum when the fender tried to occupy the same space as the garage door. Needless to say that the fender lost that encounter. Space-time continuum continued, but I had a broken fender. Okay. Did I do enough of these? I did. Okay, now what we're going to do next is just put that on there like so. And we're going to go kaboom, la-boom. All right, so we have all of those there. You know what? We should have done. No, we'll do it the other way. That will make sense because then we won't need to cut. Why does it seem like I have an extra? If I was chain stitching, why do I have extras? What did I do wrong? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 5 there. Was there 12? There was 12. I miscounted. There's 12. There's not. And you know what was awful is I don't get the frogs because I Oh. Did I do that to myself? Oh, really? We're going to take that out and we'll put the frogs there. I miscounted. There's 12 panels. I thought there was only 10. But anyway. Oh, okay. We're going on 40 minutes. Wow. I don't know if that's sad or if that's good. All right, 1 second. Okay, there we go. Now, I thought there was only 10 panels for some reason, but there's actually 12. But I only need 10 for this project. And you know the first frog that I cut, which I was super excited about, shown here, because, you know, who doesn't love a good clockwork frog? Well, I don't need him, so guess what that means? I have to do some unsewing because I'm going to put him in here. Where I'm going to put him? guess it doesn't matter where I put them. I'm going to put them here because this is like Monopoly Waterworks, and it's not really exciting to me. So all I'm going to do now, oh, watching me sew from there. I'm sorry. That was awful. Yeah, my math skills just tanked. Yeah, I can't count. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to do some seam ripping. And one of the advanced seam ripping is you just pull it open and tap the seam with your rotary cutter like so. Here, maybe I can do it over here, you guys. So you hold it open. Can you see that? If I do it like that, and you just kind of tap that with the rotary cutter as you go down. Works better with a straight blade rotor, straight handle. This is the one place that the ergo cut does not excel. That's advanced seam ripping. Do it at your own peril. There can be blood and cut blocks if you're not careful, but I don't know if you can see how easy that's going. You just tap it and go down. That's seam ripping when you're too lazy to get up and get the seam ripper. That one too, who cares? We'll just put the frog in because I want the frog. So we'll put that in there. All right, so we'll add the frog, and I'm going to actually, okay, I'm going to get the iron ready for me because I am going to iron. Ironing is key. If you are quilting, one of the secrets is to iron. It's very exciting when you iron. So anyway, we're going on about an hour here. So maybe we're going to make this into a two-part series. And we'll probably pick this up, I don't know when, because next week is Christmas. And being Christmas, I have to go down to, we're going to West Virginia to eat pizza at the Mothman Pizzeria. And you can all be jealous, but it's going to be a good time. And there's like an ammo dump and a bunch of other stuff we got to check out while we're down there. Now, I do prefer the cordless iron. This one here is the Rowenta, I don't know what, effective heat. But this just happens to be on the ironing board right here, so that's what I'm using. Though I do like the Panasonic cordless, is actually quite nice. It's got the double-ended sole plate thing, which makes life really easy. And another thing, if you're ever quilting, is pay attention to the direction you're ironing your seams. In some cases, on some patterns, the direction of pressing the seams does make a difference. But as you can tell from this pattern that we're making, we don't worry about such trivial things as directions of seams because we don't even care if we're measuring at this point. So, and we're pretty consistent. Most of our edges are about an extra quarter inch or so long because, like I said, those blocks I believe were 8 1/4. We cut our strips 2.5 by 8, and I'm just doing a quick iron here because I'm starting to think you guys are all bored with me here, which may or may not be true. And now somebody's texting me, and I don't know who that would be. Wait, did that get turned? Oh, wait, I'm on the wrong. Wow. There we go. And we'll do a little dance to entice you all to watch this. Okay, so like I said, when we did these here, you notice that we've got the those little extras. We're just going to trim that off right now. That's all I'm going to do now is just snap that with the ruler, which I left my cutter over there, which isn't very exciting. Oh, good point. Becky points out, my mother, that rotary cutter seam ripping technique really only works if you have gorilla mitts. Gorilla mitts. So that pro tip may not work for people with little hands. Oh my God. So my sister lives in Salt Lake City. And I don't know if I'm going to get in trouble for saying this, if I'm going to get like, yeah, I probably will, so I won't tell the story. But anyway, she lives in Salt Lake City, and apparently there's a chocolate shop there run by little people. And there's anything wrong with little people. Little people are fine. My sister is a giant woman. She's like 6'2", maybe. And she won't go to that chocolate shop because she's scared of little people, which I don't know why. I think it's kind of weird. All I can think of is like the angry elf in the South Pole elf. And my phone is going crazy while who's trying to talk to me. Sarah has just sent me a bunch of pictures, and I don't know why. Okay, so I'm here checking my phone. I'm a millennial kid, you know, staring at my phone instead of interacting with. Oh, I'm out of focus. Okay, thank you, Sarah. I am out of focus. That's pretty bad. What's going on there? Okay, I got to fix that. Thank you, Sarah, for alerting me to the fact that the focus is out. Maybe that'll fix it. Does that help? Oh, no, that probably didn't help. See, I need to get a camera. My second camera needs to get autofocus. Does that work? Am I in focus now? All right. I think that looks better. Thank you, Sarah, for alerting me to the fact that I was out of focus. I'm sorry that you all had to witness that. But that's what my life is like when I don't put my glasses on. Everything looks like that, just this blurry mess. And it's awful, so I wear glasses. They also make me look smart. Glasses make you look smart. Oh, at least I always thought so. But how does my brother say it? You can let people assume you're smart. Just don't open your mouth and prove them wrong, or something like that. I don't know. He has something he says about being smart. All right. So the next thing I want to do is we're just going to add the top and bottom to our rows that we have just created. And I'm going to do a couple more seams, and then we're going to probably wrap this up because it's getting late. We've almost been here an hour, and I don't know if that hour was worth it. I imagine that most of you are probably doing something else and playing me in the background, which that I'm perfectly fine with that. You know, it doesn't hurt my feelings that I'm not like number one on your priorities, that you have to watch me while I quilt. But I do think that people will watch this and get like bored. But I don't know. See, it's bizarre because my kid watches these videos of this guy playing video games, and he's sitting there playing video games and talking to himself, kind of like what I'm doing here, sewing, but he does it with video games. And he like makes money at it. Like he gets paid to do that. And I don't understand that because I can't believe there's enough people that want to sit around and watch somebody do something while they're doing something. All right. That being said, let me continue. All we're going to do now is we're just going to take these rows, because we have these really cool looking rows. See the rows? And I want to add a top and a bottom to them so these blocks are actually framed out in our print. And like I said, if you're one of those people that really cares about the direction of fabric, this might drive you nuts because the letters and the numbers are going the wrong way if you look really close. Now, I did make an error, and I did not cut my salvage off on this, but that's all right. I'm just going to cheat it anyway because we just have to cut it. And I didn't. And I was also bad again because I didn't measure. If you're a true hardcore quilter, you would have measured the length of this here and cut this strip to be the proper length. That's not me. I'm going to sew this to this and then cut the ends off. That's me. And that's also why I'm not an award-winning quilter. And shout out to Sarah and Jolene. Sarah made this awesome quilt with an owl on it. Not my Sarah at home who's watching this, but Sarah Wilmot, who comes into the store and makes these fantastic art quilts that are just amazing. She made the pillows. I don't know if you've been in the shop and saw the pillows with like the cow and chicken on it, but she made this really cool quilt with an owl on it. And then she got Jolene to quilt it for her. Jolene, who lives down in New York, Dutchess County Quilting, I believe, does fantastic work as well. And it was her first quilt. She put it in APQS, and she was AP, which is like the big quilting show thing, and she won awards with it. So shout out to them. Those are true quilters. Those are people that truly are artists. They're not hacks like myself who just pretend. But hey, I enjoy it, so that's all that matters. All right, continuing on. And I'm just running this through, and you're all going to kind of see what this is going to look like before we're done. I can't believe that it's taking me almost an hour to get this far. And I have to watch an episode of The Mandalorian when I get home. So I'm hoping that Sarah hasn't gone to bed because I'm not allowed to watch it without her. And apparently, she thought I watched something else without her, which I didn't. But she watched that new Ryan Reynolds one without me, which I was kind of upset about. And she's like, "Oh, I didn't think you would like it." And I'm thinking to myself, what has Ryan Reynolds made in like the last 5 years? Well, 3 years that I wouldn't want to watch. I mean, because there are some that he's made that you're kind of like, what was he thinking? But anyway, did you see Safe House with Denzel Washington and Ryan Reynolds? That was a good one. But like, I don't think there's a bad Denzel movie. Has anybody seen a bad Denzel movie? Like a Denzel Washington flick that was just bad? I don't think one exists. I think he's one of those people that just has like good movies. Like, if you see it and you're like, oh, Denzel, no one, it's got to be good. I mean, I could be wrong. If you're watching this or you're watching this later, you know the trick they do when you watch YouTube videos, like post in the comments below and let me know what you think. Yeah. If you're watching it now, throw it up on the screen so we can talk about it. If you're not watching now, post in the comments and maybe I'll read it at some point because, I would do that because I only have like 6 people that watch me. But can you think of a bad Denzel Washington movie? I mean, they're all good. I mean, one of my personal favorites, Book of Eli, is fantastic. And if you haven't seen Book of Eli, I would recommend that you go out and watch it. It's post-apocalyptic, like craziness, but it's good. It's Denzel, so it's not going to be bad. It's not like Cuba Gooding Jr., where it like has some good movies, and then some that are just like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I just watched that. Who else does movies like that? There's just some actors, if in a movie it's good, and there's some that just like it. You have no idea if it's going to be good or not. See, all I did there was I just put the borders top and bottom. I'll have to iron that out, but it's upside down. You get the idea. And you see, I left enough on either side to cut it off. That's why I didn't measure. And yeah, so there's that. Okay, do the same thing for here for my 2 rows. Okay. All right. Oh, we're up to 7. It means we got another somebody's watching. Unless that's you, Dan. Did you like log on to like a third thing so that people think we got 7 people watching? Anyway, I know I'm rambling at this point. See, normally if I was doing this and I wasn't trying to do a show to let you all watch, give you the insight into the craziness that is me making a quilt. Not that it's crazy, just me doing a quilt. I would normally have my music playing. And the music is what would entertain my mind, and I wouldn't have to talk to myself. But, I don't know what the story is. When I tried to do music, I was doing like a Facebook video once, and I got this big red box up there that's like, you're playing copyrighted material, you're going to go to jail. And so I promptly turned the music off. I don't know if YouTube does, if YouTube's the same way. I suppose I could play Eddie's music, because I think technically I own the copyright. Only because he lives in my house. I could be wrong though. I might have to look into that because then I could play his album in the background and subject all you to that, which it kind of grows on you after a while. It's like, oh, this isn't bad. But I don't know if that's because my brain's been numbed to his music and so therefore I don't think it's bad, or if it's actually good. Or it could just be the dad in me thinking, oh, my son's got talent. I mean, I think he does. I like to think he does, but it's like the episode of the Goldbergs that we watched when you like look through your mom glasses. All right. 1990 Heart Condition was rated 47 out of 49 movies that has been what? That's like an incomplete thought. Has been, you're like leaving us hanging. You can't build up and not deliver. Oh, wait. Out of the 49 has been in. Oh, okay. I got you. I just read it wrong because I'm not only do I have like faulty math skills, my literacy rate is probably pretty questionable as well. What is Heart Condition? I've never heard of Heart Condition. Did you see the one where he's like a demon? I think my thread just broke. Now I'm thinking I gotta go back and watch some Denzel movies because like The Devil in a Blue Dress was good. Like what was that one where he's a demon, Nazriel, and he's like trying to run away from everybody so that the demon can't get out of him and into somebody else. It's like a really bizarre movie. It's like a really weird movie, but it was really kind of interesting. Out of Time was good. Training Day, everybody likes Training Day. Safe House was good. Like I said, I'm a partial to the Book of Eli. I really like that one. Yeah, that's true, Danny. It's true. It probably was a bad movie because nobody's seen it. So maybe he's smart and he just hides all his bad movies. Like I was listening to a statistic on that the other day because they were talking, was it Bach or Beethoven? And they're talking about, all the great classical composers. And I should probably pay attention to what I'm sewing while I'm sewing. And they're making this point that you listen to these classical composers, and you think, oh wow, Bach, Beethoven, Mendel, Strauss, all those guys, and they're like these great classical composers, and they're giants among men and all that. And they're making the point. I think it was Beethoven. They're saying that Beethoven wrote thousands of pieces of music, thousands, not hundreds, thousands of pieces of music. I think Mozart did too. And of those thousands of pieces of music that they wrote, we maybe listen to 50 of them. Hardcore people might listen to 100 of them. So they're only great because it was like they took the shotgun. It's like they're using a shotgun because something's got to hit if you put enough of it out there. And I thought that was a very interesting thought, that these people that we think are great, maybe it's not that they're great because of all the work that they did and failed. They eventually had to get some of it right. I mean, they had to hone their craft somehow. They didn't just show up one day and are like awesome composers. And so then that made me think of Ween. I'm going to say Ween. If you haven't heard of Ween, that's fine. I hadn't either until my child had introduced me to Ween. And what's interesting about Ween is they're like these weird kids. I think they grew up in Pennsylvania, New Jersey or something. I don't know. And in like the 80s, and they wanted to be rock stars. So they recorded all this weird stuff on cassettes. Like, it's awful. But they saved all these cassettes, and they're like on the internet now, and you can listen to how awful their music is. I mean, it's just some bizarro, crappy stuff. But yet, if you listen to like the Mollusk album, which isn't bad, or Pod, they actually became good. They've got some good stuff. So I wonder, it made me think, how many other famous like rock star musician types are out there? We just don't have their collective body of work to see how bad they really were before they got good. It was just a thought I was having when they were talking about Bach and Beethoven and Mozart and all those guys and how much work they actually did versus how much we actually listened to. So maybe there's hope for my kid, even though he might put out a bunch of garbage music. At some point, it's going to become good. And if he can just get, 50 of his thousands of pieces of work to hit, he'll do all right. Or maybe he'll just get a real job and who knows? I don't know. It's just, something I was thinking about. And I'm rambling, but that's what I do, I guess. This is what you guys tune in for. You guys knew what you were getting when you turned this on, I think. Maybe not, because some of these have been pretty informative. And then this is probably completely different than what we put on the channel in the past. So maybe I've tricked you into watching something that you were not sure you wanted to watch. All right. See how that's coming out? See how nice that's looking? You all seeing it kind of come together? You'll see here in just a minute. I keep telling myself I should just stop because we're at a minute 10 at this point. And we have 9 people watching now. Maybe we'll just keep going. We'll get more people watching as the longer we stay on. So if we stay on all night, we'll have millions of people. Like, I look at some of these YouTube channels, and they've got like thousands and thousands of people that watch. And I'm like happy if I have like 10 people watching me. And if we had like 100 subscribers, I would think, holy crap, I'm famous. I couldn't imagine like waking up and having like thousands of people. It's like I listened to some podcast, and it was really funny once because I was listening to, I think it was Joe Rogan, and it was hilarious because once somebody asked him, it was like, there's millions of people that listen to you because you can check your stats. And he's like, yeah. And he just laughed at it because he's like, he acted like he didn't believe it, which might be true because could you imagine thinking of like millions of people listening to what you're saying or tuning into your show? It's kind of mind-boggling. But anyway, that's kind of off the subject. See, all I'm doing now is I'm just taking these extra tails here and I'm just trimming those off. Like I said, the only thing we've measured at this point is 2.5-inch strips. And we cut 2.5 by 8.5. Everything else we've just been kind of eyeballing. And so all we're going to do after this. Now, we could have put these spacers that we put in between, we could have sewn some on the end, but I don't like the way that looks. So I'm going to actually put the ends on now because I like the way that the seams look better. It's like a personal thing. It wouldn't have mattered one way or the other, but for me, I want it like an end cap. So we're going to do another strip and just going to see where we're at. All right. So how wide are these? These are roughly, oh, freaking heck, they're 12 inches wide. You know what 12 inches means? It means I can't get 4 out of one strip. I'm going to have to cut 2 strips. So we're just going to cut. See, this is, I don't know how any of you guys sew at home. I really don't. I do all my sewing here. You know why? Because if I don't have enough material, I just go grab the bolt and cut myself some more. And I know that's, you know, I guess that's the perks of owning the business, being corporate. You have a corporate giant. You know, like there's issues when people come in and want to make a return or something. I'm like, we got to talk to corporate. I don't know if that's legal. And then some people will be like, what are you talking about? Because there's no corporate here. It's just me. I guess I could say that Becky's corporate. I could be like, Ma, I have to make a call out to Boise, no, Twin Falls. Headquarters in Twin Falls, Idaho. Got to talk to corporate. And she'd be like, I don't want anything to do with that. Anyway. Sarah's on. Hey! Oh, Sarah's commenting, which means she's not watching on the big screen. She's probably snuggled up in bed watching this. And then Stella's probably there wondering, what's going on? Where's Dad? Yeah, that's kind of weird. I just call myself Dad to my dog. I'm not a dog person. I hate dogs. I don't want pets. And I'm sorry, I was in the wrong camera. Am I in the wrong camera? Yeah, I'm in the right camera now. This is hard keeping track of all this, what we sew. So all we're doing now, here, I'll show you what we're doing now, is so we've got this. I don't want that one. So we've got this here, and so that's the end, and I'm just going to sew this piece to the end of that. And I just cut 4 strips. So again, I haven't measured anything. I'm just going to slap 4 strips on the end, then we'll cut it to width after. So this is how I make a quilt row. We're making, oh, you know what? It doesn't matter. We'll make it all work at the end. I just realized something that I might have wanted to measure to make sure they're both the same size. Because it would be nice to have your quilt rows, you should have your quilt rows be the same width. Otherwise, you have like a weird lopsided quilt, but whatever. It'll be close enough. I'm not too worried about it. We'll make it fit. Because that's what we do. We make it fit. We'll throw it on there. If it doesn't fit, we'll just cut it down. It's kind of weird too, because I'm kind of watching on the television over there to make sure that it doesn't look awful sometimes. I mean, it always looks awful because, I guess I might have been good looking back in the day. I don't know. But I was always the smart one, as they say. But I think somebody finds that. I don't know. Anyway. Oh, Sarah's watching on both. That's why we have 9 people watching now, because Sarah's watching on the television and on her iPad. Way to be. So when I see my statistics at the end, it'll be like 8 people watched for 300 hours, because you can get that statistic and it's kind of cool. But then when you realize it's because half the people watching were watching on 3 different devices, it's not as cool. Well, it's not as, I don't want to say not as cool. It's always cool because you get to be on television. But remember, like, back in the day, like, if you somehow got on television, that was awesome. Like, it was like, oh, you're on TV. And now anybody with an internet connection and well, they don't even need a camera, you need a phone now, can get on television. kind of bizarre how the world has become what it's become. Shut up. You know you're handsome. Oh, gee. Thank you, Sarah. No, some days I do. Like you get up and you look in the mirror and you get out of the shower and you comb your hair and you just shave and you look really good. And at that point, I'm like, dang, I'm a good looking dude. But, you know, doesn't happen all. I mean, that's just one of those things I notice sometimes. Most of the time, I just look like an unmade bed. And I recognize that maybe, you know, not the best look. But I guess that I do that so Sarah can feel safe and secure in knowing that I'm not a desirable man and that I don't know. That makes no sense what I'm saying. I have no idea where I was going with that. So, yeah, I love you, Sarah. So now you have to stay with me, Sarah, because I just said that I love you on YouTube. And so now if you leave me, then that will be forever memorialized on YouTube. And I don't know how you feel about that. Right? Because that's the other thing too. With like we talk about, anybody can be on television now with a camera. Think of some of the dumb crap that gets put on the internet. It's like it's there forever. It's not going anywhere. I mean, I can only imagine some of the dumb stuff I did as a child. And if that had been posted, I'd be like, wow, that's kind of messed up. Because, you know, I'm not saying I was a bad kid. But, you know, we did some stuff just to say we did it. And that's not necessarily leads to good outcomes. It's real if it's on YouTube, see? All right, so as I continue to, well, I guess I can keep going. You know, I was thinking to myself, we're here for an hour, and my gosh, it's getting late. But I guess if Sarah's going to log on and talk to me, it'd be the same if I went home and she talked to me. So I'll just keep going, unless you guys want me to stop. It's up to you. I'm going to leave this up to this is audience participation at this point. We can put it on hold and finish this later, or I can keep going and you can kind of see what this is going to become. Because I think most of this, I don't say most of the sewing's done, but, well, there's still a little ways to go, but it's all starting to come together. You'll kind of see what it's doing here in just a second. Let me get these trimmed up. You can see the idea, and then you can decide if you want me to keep going or not. I'm going to leave that up to you guys. What do they say? Didn't your mom just say something about you wanting to play with poop that would have made for a good video? Well, when we grew up, see, I don't know. Did I miss that? You guys get conversations going. I'm not following the whole thing because I'm sitting here rambling to myself. Oh, Sarah says come home, so I guess I got to wrap this up. How much more? Let's see the idea. Okay, let me just finish this up so you guys see where I'm going with this. In fact, I'll do some pinning. You can kind of see what's going to happen after this. Because now that I've got the rows done, it's all, you can kind of see the concept. And I think I can dig up a quilt that has the original pattern. It's around here somewhere. I'll find a quilt of the original, what it's based on, and then you'll be like, oh, it makes sense. Because it's like really easy. This is really easy to do. But I'm doing it as, I don't have any measurements for it because I was just going to make the measurements up as I went along. So if you wanted a pattern for this, you're kind of SOL because, like I said, I'm not going to do a pattern. So there's a row. Look at the row. Yay! There's row one. Okay. And then we're going to do another row here. Like this. It's actually coming together quite nicely. It's looking pretty good. Did I put the B on upside down? No, I didn't because the letters are right side up. All right, so those are our rows. I'm going to trim that one there. I guess I can finish this tomorrow. If you're all coming to the Christmas party, you might be able to see it done because I might finish it up for tomorrow for the Christmas party. Okay, so here are our rows. Give me a second. I know I've got a quote here somewhere. Where did I put it? It's over here, I think. Did I put it over here? No, it's not there. 1 second. I'm going to get it. Oh, right here. So this here, I don't know if you can see it. This quilt here is what we're kind of basing what we're making on. You see, it's upside down. Here, let me switch camera so you can kind of see it better. Okay. So what you got here is, this is the quilt that we're basing this on. So this center part here is going to be the panel. But instead of having a solid piece across the top of fabric, this is where the rows are going to go. See, we're going to put the rows across the top. And then we'll use some of those other accent fabrics because we have a fairly large print. That'll just go down the side. And we may put an outer border around it as well because we have enough to do that. It'll make it a little bit bigger. But that's the concept. So this is going to be your panel center. And the rows we just made would go across the top. That's kind of sad, me trying to hold it up, but you can see what I'm saying. So the row is going to go across the top where that orange piece was at. And then we're going to use the brown as that little bit of black. And probably the top hats. So this will go up the sides, and then that'll be like the little intermediate part. That's the concept I'm going for. That was the idea. So I've got like a few more borders put on and all that, but it'll be done. We'll finish it up. I think next time we come on, you guys will see the finished product. But the hard part was getting the rows done. And you can see after that, there's not a whole lot to this. Because after I got these top rows done, all you have to do is sew these two pieces on the side here, and then attach your rows to the top. Now the measurement here, I don't know what this measurement's going to be, so what I have to do is figure out how long my rows are, divide, and see how much bigger my top row is from my panel, divide that by 2, and that'll give me this number here. Now I'll probably, when I do that math, I'll probably cheat it and give myself an extra inch or 2, and then after I attach the row to the top, I'll start in the middle and work out, and then I'll just trim the sides so I don't have to worry about getting the exact measurement. That's kind of the plan I'm going with. And then after I get it done, I'll be able to tell you more or less what the measurement is. But the idea would be, like I said, when you put that side panel on, we would just kind of estimate that, give a little extra, and trim that up when we're done. So you don't have to worry about, is it 9 inches or is it 10? Yeah, just give me 11 and we'll cut it down. So anyway, I like it. Finish it and quilt it. Well, I'm going to finish it and quilt it, Ma. Maybe. Oh, did you guys see the one I just made? I made like a really cool one. I started it like in the summer, and I just finished it up. I finally got on the quilt machine yesterday, and it came out really cool. I posted on Instagram. But you probably already saw it, so I'm not going to get into it. I have my Yankee Swap gift all wrapped. So Sarah's all wrapped up and ready to go for the Yankee Swap. That being said, I guess it's at this point. Thanks for watching. We've been going on now for almost an hour and a half, which is kind of insane because I don't know. Yeah, that's kind of much. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do that to you all. Hour and a half. That's like 90 minutes. That's like a movie. I'll have to edit this. When I sit down at some point, I'm actually going to edit stuff. So we'll get this down to about 2 minutes because there's probably only 2 minutes worth of content on here. But anyway, I thank you all for watching. I don't know why we do this. I don't even know why you guys watch. Sometimes I look at myself and I think, wow. But anyway, I hope you all enjoyed it. And if you did, by all means, feel free to comment, thumbs up, subscribe, all that stuff, because the more people that do that, then I get that endorphin instant gratification. It's like, wow, people love me and I make more of these. Well, not really. I don't really think that way. But if you do enjoy this, like I said, give it a thumbs up and subscribe and send it to your friends, because the more subscribers and crap that I get, it's stuff. It's not crap. Stuff, then that's better. And it makes me feel like I'm getting something done. Otherwise, I'm just, some days I want to do this. I'm like, oh, why am I doing that for the 6 people that watch? But hey, I'm rambling at this point, and I'm sorry. I'm going to say goodnight to everybody. It looks like it's just Becky and Danny. I don't know who else is on there. Will it show me? I'm going to check on my computer. Does it tell me who else is watching? It doesn't. So I don't know who you are if you're watching. It says, well, there's 10 other people watching. So thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. Come by the store. And everybody tells me I should give away freebies, but that's just too much work. So come by the store. What is that? There's something weird in the corner. Anyway, come by the store and buy stuff, and we will talk to you all. And go online. Online, free shipping, anything over $100. Probably won't get it before Christmas, but hey. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I will see you all later.